Hey guys, this is Allison from Alley Cat Creations. How are you? If you get anything from my work, an epiphany, a mic drop, a new author to read, a new book to explore, please consider helping and supporting my work with a love donation if you can. If not, please like, share, and subscribe. All the links will be in the description box below. I hope everybody's doing really good today. I'm very sad because this is the last part of the Kabbalion we're going to cover today. This is a profound book. Why? Because the principles in here can be applied to life and can be cross-checked with other books. It's physics. It's the laws of the universe, laws of nature. Highly recommended. It's not that bad. Please go get this book, read it. It's going to change the way you see things. It's going to help you tenfold. Understanding how to transmute your emotions. Understanding polarity, rhythm. Understanding how to catch yourself when you're having those bad days. And how to use alchemical transmutation to swing upwards. Sorry about that. I did a video about suicide and how to transmute your thoughts. That's just small steps. Sometimes when we're in the thick of those feelings, we're not interested in thinking about puppy dogs and kitty cats and cute stuff. It's about recognizing why you feel that way, why you're in those feelings, why, and analyzing them. And that's not easy. Sometimes we don't want to confront or face why we feel certain ways. Some people place blame on other people, places, things, whatever have you, circumstances, instead of dealing with it. Going through my situation and my circumstances, I can blame myself for not doing something that I just morally couldn't do. I could place my blame on that. I own up to it. I knew it was coming down the road. I prepared as best as possible, but I didn't know what my future was going to look like. I didn't think that it was going to be this long, that things would not go back to normal. Well, nothing is going to go back to normal. Let's just say that. But I didn't think that New York would still have mandated jobs for this amount of time, where the rest of the country is back to people working, no questions asked, none of this, unless that's a choice that you make, which is fine, it's up to you. But here, still under that. Who would have known? I sure didn't, right? I didn't know. I could blame myself, or I could say, okay, so universe has set me off course. Why? Why did I have to go through all of this? What is it setting me up for? And then when I go and dig deep, oh, well, maybe I really do need to move out of here. Maybe this is no longer a place that my energy needs. Maybe my energy is needed somewhere else. Maybe I need to be the lighthouse in another area where it's needed, where I'm needed. You know? Everybody's like, well, why did you choose this place? Why did you choose that place? It's where I'm being driven to go. You know, everybody thinks there's an alternative motive to things when I'm just going with what my heart is saying to do. And it feels right. And if it's not right, I can always put that house up for sale and move somewhere else. Who knows? But what I do know is that reading this book makes sense of how I was dealing before I read the book, how I was dealing with my mental mindset, dealing with my problems, analyzing why I was feeling the way I was, and learning through the principles how to make adjustments. So this part, the last part of the book, I'm really sad, is the Hermetic Axioms. So there is a succession of quotes from the Kybalion, and I put some of my insights in there and a lot of their insights as well, the author, the person who re-edited. So I'm going to read the first one. Quote, the possession of knowledge, unless accompanied by a manifestation and expression in action, remember, in action, is like the hardening of precious metals, a vain and foolish thing. Knowledge, like wealth, is intended for us. The law of use is universal, and he who violates it suffers by reason of his conflict with natural forces, end quote, the Kybalion. That's followed up by, quote, knowledge without use and expression is a vain thing, bringing no good to its possessor or to the race, end quote. Apply that, insert here into the mailbox of society. Apply those two quotes to what is happening now in society. What's happening? There's a great awakening. There's a lot of truth and knowledge that more and more people are being perceptive to. So a lot of us who watch my work, but also have read the work, who are very metaphysical and very mathematical and very scientific and also very spiritual, whatever you want to insert where you are, you had this knowing already. But there's a lot of people who just blindly went through life, or just like told this is occult stuff. No, 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 no. Not allowed. That's Satan's work. Right? A lot of people pass these gems by because they don't have the knowledge. They're indoctrinated. They're told what to do. And at the end, we'll get through to that amazing axiom. But it's without stating that really, look what's happening in the world today. Knowledge without use and expression is a vain thing, bringing no good to its possessor or to the race. So you need to use and express your knowledge. The next grouping of words are axioms and aphorisms to put into action. setting them with intention into motion to have a cause and effect, but you need to apply and use. So just like we try to manifest, just like we try to put things out, like the Amish mindset, I keep saying, you have to put the action into motion to get a cause and effect. If I say and do something, I'm saying and doing, and I'm physically doing something, whether it be a click of a mouse or physically getting up and putting action into motion to express that I'm using the intention that I put out into the universe. If I say I'm going to repost somebody's blog or somebody's meme or try to uplift humanity every day, I have an intention and I said it, I'm putting action into motion by doing so. I put and share numerous people's videos that I think when other people watch, they're going to get a lot from it. Today, Ann Tucker, she did a channeling. It's phenomenal. I put it on my Facebook page. Today, the Truth Tour had almost an 8-hour feed of amazing speakers, amazing information. I put that on all my platforms. Shout out to Carol, because Carol Friesen, hello, my goodness, amazing. But I'm putting action into motion. I'm walking those steps. I'm physically clicking because I'm depleted, right? But I'm doing. That's what we all need to do. A lot of people like to tweet, 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 tweet. But are they taking and putting action into motion? Right? Like, I want to manifest me moving. So what did I have to do? I had to clear out my house. I had to sell everything so that in the meantime I can eat. So I'm still putting action into motion so I could feed myself. I set the intention that I needed to find a realtor who would work with me. And that was not easy to do and not easy to find because of the real estate issues in New York. Finally found one that I spiritually connected with. Put the house up, yard sales, all the nonsense. I had to put my house up for sale in order to get a new start, to save my life. I don't make enough money in doing odd jobs, and people donating is infrequent to keep my work going on. So I had to put action into motion to get a result, and I haven't gotten that result yet, but it is on its way eventually. When you don't see me in the background, you see me in a hotel, we know that I put action into motion, right? So this is what I'm talking about. If you're going to say and do something, you got to put action into motion to get a result, a cause and an effect, whether it be positive or negative. Quote, to change your mood or mental state, change your vibration. Kybalion. That's without saying. That's without saying. I mean, the majority of people who are spiritual will talk about this big time. Big time. That's what most people say, change your vibration. If you're always in the lower planes of existence and you're low vibrating, you're dense, remember vibration is the rate and speed of matter moving. If you're just, you pluck the string, but there's a lot of resistance and you're only vibrating, there's, it affects your moods and affects your states and your mental state. How can we change that? Using our willpower is bringing forth the power to change one's vibratory state. to a more desirable one. Our will directs attention, that attention alone has the dynamics to transform the vibration. This will aid in the mastery of moods and mental states. You have to want it. You have to really want it. Again, if it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. It might unfold differently than you were thinking. It might come in a time that you weren't thinking, because again, what this doesn't do is it's not telling you about the timelines. Each one of us has timelines. And when we shift our vibration and we shift and we make choices in our lives, major ones, not just like, oh, am I going to shit or piss right now, right? Like, that's not affecting your timeline. It's when you're taking a job. It's when you're moving into a new location. It's when you're in a new relationship. You're changing the paradigm. You have choices you can make. The better choice that you make, and no choice is wrong, by the way. There's always a lesson in each of the choices you make. But if you go towards what the higher destiny of your life is, the timeline split. It goes, goodbye. We're going to go with this one. So if you made a change in your thinking process and you're working towards it, better things will come because you changed your timeline and you're moving it this way instead of this way. Again, the polarities. So you're manifesting higher, and if you're going to manifest to your highest of the high, things are going to continuously change until you get to that highest point. That's where I feel I am right now. Why things haven't manifested just yet, because I'm still changing timelines. Fun, right? But you have to will it into existence. You have to want it. You have to have it in your heart to want the change, to will things into existence in the lower forms. You can only do that by raising your vibration, by changing the rate in which you vibrate. And also your thinking and your thoughts. If you're always in a shitty disposition, what really is going to manifest for you is shitty circumstances. And yes, bad things happen to good people. That is tests from upstairs that you signed up for because you needed those tests. Those are different. But if you are mulling around in negative mental spaces all the time, it's not going to do any good for you. That's why a lot of people stay in a depressed state. That's why people stay in a suicidal state, because they have nothing to uplift them. Their willpower is gone. But others, when they project their will, can influence a person that's depressed. We'll get into that later. But just know that you alone, your energy that you're emoting, your intention, your willpower can affect another person profoundly if you choose to use it in that direction. So just know that you have the willpower in yourself to change your mental state. You have to change your mindset. But you can master that. It's not easy. It took me years to figure out the cyclical shit that I kept returning to because I wasn't seeing it physically or understanding why, until I had to learn how to stop myself in the moments that I caught it. And that's not easy to catch yourself. When you're in the middle of talking, you're like, oh, fuck. Shit. Okay. Step back. Did I really just say that? Again, I was not supposed to say that. Okay. Now let me reset myself to neutrality and get back onto course. So you're not dismissing that you made a mistake, but you're redirecting yourself back into neutrality, going, holy fuck, I just said something I shouldn't have said. Okay, let me, and now I'm cognizant of that I said it. Let's change that into something more positive so that I stop repeating this cycle, that I stop repeating saying or doing or feeling a certain way. When you catch yourself, you're becoming cognizant of the subconscious programming. You're catching yourself. People point traits out all the time. When I was a kid, Allison, you're being a bitch. But how am I being a bitch? I don't know, but you're just being a bitch. Oh, okay. That's not helping me. I need more direction here. You know, and a lot of people like won't like that someone's telling me you're a bitch, right? Or a Karen. I don't like using that because I know a lot of good Karens out there. But just for technicality's sake. But like for me, I didn't take it as an insult. I was like, okay, so you're gonna criticize me, but I need more details about this because I need to know what to stop. So I'm not projecting out being this person that I know I'm not. But if I'm being that and I'm projecting that, there has to be a reason why. And it could be because I'm reflecting someone else's bitchy attitude out back to them because I'm an empath and I do that. So then I can recognize not to be around that person anymore. So I'm not being that reflection for them. Or I'm just having a really bad day and I just don't realize that I keep doing this around a certain amount of people that keep feeling this energy coming off of me. So there must be something there. And then you go and analyze and you really think back what's triggering you, what's making you feel and do these things, say these things, whatever it is that you catch yourself in. And you can go back and take steps back and be aware, use your willpower to make those changes. It takes time. It doesn't come overnight. Not all the time are you cognizant of these things. Sometimes people just rant. You're out and about in the day. You're in your habits, your routines. You don't recognize it, but someone might point it out, or you just, holy shit, did I do that today? Then you can take a step back, become more aware, and do the work in fixing it. Doing the work is all, it's all mental. You can write it down too. You know, nobody's gonna, you know, maybe someone out there, I don't know too many people that would sit there with a buzzer every time you're repeating a pattern that's negative. That's a part of our learning process, is to pick it up on our own. And it takes time. But that's what, you know, the Hermeticists are all about: the adept, the student, and the master. And the master is taking them slowly through the book, the journey, through all of these modalities. And the student takes years to perfect them. It's not going to nothing happens overnight, especially for us humans. Quote, to destroy an undesirable rate of mental vibration, put into operation the principle of polarity, and concentrate upon the opposite pole to that which you desire to suppress. Kill out the undesirable by changing its polarity. The Kybalion, end quote. This is not the easiest one to understand, but I hit it in the later of my notes on this, but I'm going to take a crack. When one is in a fear mindset to overwhelm that and kill out the fear, one must step into the courage mindset. So when you're in fear and you're overwhelmed, anxious, how do you stomp that out? Stepping into the I am courage, or I am courageous, I am going to conquer this emotion, this fear. To take away a negative quality, one must concentrate upon positive pole of the same quality, slowing the vibratory state. The will change by mastering the poles. One is aware of the vibration they're at, and by will set into motion the swing to a better state. So again, it's here's the fear, here's neutrality, and that's where you want to shoot for. You don't want to shoot all the way up here, because that's not necessarily practical or obtainable in the moment. You want to come to neutrality. You don't want to fear, you want to understand why you fear it. Why are you fearing something? Why is something making you overwhelmed? Is it a phobia? Is it what the television told you? What is it that is making you fear? Then you need to rationalize your fear and understand it, analyze it. Why do you hate, let's say, spiders? Why do spiders freak you out? Okay, they can bite you. But how many spiders are walking in your path on a daily basis? I saw a wickedly huge one on my deck the other day. I was in I took pictures. I was like amazed. I'm not afraid of much. That doesn't scare me. But I'm just using that as an example. Like, why is there a fear there? Why does that make you run and jump on tables? There has to be something behind that. And that's where you really need to get to the root of the problem and understanding why you have that fear. And when you get to neutrality, then you can start swinging upwards to a state that you can function in. Mental mastery is applying the principle of polarity, which is important to mental transmutation. It's the truth. Once you can figure out how to get to neutrality in any situation, right? I deal with it all the time. I'm very frustrated. I'm physically hungry. I'm dropping weight still. I'm trying to keep it on, actually. How do I transmute my mental state when the food I'm eating is not that healthy? When I can't really I'm allergic to chlorine and everything else in the water, so I'm running out of bottled water. But if I'm in this mode, how do I transmute that so that I'm not going to sleep angry and frustrated? And what am I doing? So I'm coming to neutrality and I'm trying to distract my mind with better things to think about. And like, oh, how do I want to look my house to look? What do I want the cat's room to look like? What do I want furniture wise? Right. So I'm trying to transmute the situation that I really can't help right now and thinking about better things so that I'm not sitting and projecting that negativity out. Right? We have to transmute, alchemically transmute. And sometimes we should just go sit in nature, sit inside, because our higher self, our inner knowing, our inner compass, our instinctual self has the answers. There's too much noise that blocks it out, and going into nature, Ethan, I'm like, what is in my house? Going into nature touching a tree helps calm you down, ground into the earth, ground into the earth, ground into nature. It's the best thing you could do. You're getting all those ions, you're getting all those particles of nature back into your body. It's into your essence. And then you feel better. Exercise. Do things that will make you happy, even in your worst moments. You know? You gotta laugh and have fun with life. Be the inner child. And many of us have to heal that inner child too. It all comes down to mental mastery. And that's what a lot of us need to keep working on. Quote, mind, as well as metals and elements, may be transmuted from state to state, degree to degree, condition to condition, pole to pole, vibration to vibration. The Kybalion. When one can grasp identifying when you're in a state of mind, alchemically applying mental transmutation, changing the pole you sit in, you will be unable to affect your environment. This isn't easy to achieve, as most unconsciously walk through their day in routine and habit. When you can catch yourself in moments of the pole you are in, you have the ability to come to neutrality, rationalize your emotions, then find modalities that will swing you into the desired pole. This takes patience, persistence, and practice. So I kind of went over that before. But if we look at today in the world, there's a lot of transmuting that needs to be done on a humongous humanity scale and personalized scale. A lot of people know there's something wrong if they can't put their finger on it because they still are under the mind control. And we have to give them patience, and we need to be their cheerleaders. And each one of them are going to come to us who understand these principles. You don't need to call them the Hermetic principles, but these are principles that we can all, and tools in your toolbox that you can use to help other people in your life. Not everybody's going to wake up. It's not in their plan to. And we have to respect that. And know it's hard. Again, Ann Tucker goes over that today. There's going to be a lot of loss, and there already has been a lot of loss of life because those souls made arrangements with God. They can't be here anymore. They're not vibrationally ready to move on. Or they have a bigger and higher purpose, right? They're going to be doing their greater work in the heavens, right? But that's again an arrangement they made with God. Whether they be the child, the grandmother, the mother, the father, the uncle, the aunt, the cousin, it doesn't matter. It sucks here in the physical when we lose somebody. If you don't grasp that they're just energy and that they had a plan, you're a part of their plan. And when their time was done and up, their arrangement was here, the end date was here, you can't control that. And I only really walked through that with my mother. My father, my father was a little different because he was really sick. He was suffering. He was suffering. If anybody knows what the disease scleroderma is, holy shitballs, was he suffering. So we all did not want him to live because he was suffering. We don't want people to suffer. And he needed to go home. we didn't want to watch him suffer, and I don't think he wanted to be here to suffer. So it was a little different. With my mom, I walked through a lot of these things more so, these emotional steps. But I knew where she was going. I knew she was going to be okay. I crossed her over. She didn't want to go. She was so clung on to me. My mother was up my ass all the time. Any one of my friends could tell you, any one of my exes could tell you. All she did was call me to ask me where I was all day. And she had control issues. It's okay. She loved me. She still loves me. She's upstairs. She's working hard. She better be working hard. But I knew where she was going. So I knew when she transitioned over, I was crying because I didn't like the state that she was in. I didn't like to see her in pain and suffering in her last breaths. I didn't like it because the hospital sucked. And I saw a lot of demonic things. So I was emotional. But at the end of the day, I went home. I cleared myself out, went to sleep, called the funeral home, and then I kind of purged it all out of me and like, okay, mom, okay, enjoy your healing. I'll see you, when you come to me in my dreams, and then you don't have, most of the time when you're by yourself, you don't have time. There's no time to get it out because everybody takes advantage of you when someone dies and you're not in the right mental head space. Holy shit, do people try. But I was already in that stage where I already knew it was going to happen because I have a crazy ability that I know when people are about to die. So I mentally prepare for it. But you still have to humanly go through these things. Mourning on some people are different, right? So it's really about finding the neutrality state, coping with it. And of course, you need to purge those emotions out. That doesn't mean you're vibrating lower. That means like you're in neutrality and you're here. We're all human and we swing back and forth on this rhythmly polarity pole with the pendulum. We go back and forth. It took a pendulum out. We swing back and forth. Right? It's coming to center and swinging this way and the varying levels and degrees. But don't think that we don't, we swing, we're going to go back, but it's the resistance of going back that's up to you mentally. And it takes patience and practice to do that. Okay, so don't think for any one moment that anybody really ever has it completely mastered. There are people who have, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to, when something happens, they're not going to be emotional about it and that they need to purge and they need to find neutrality. Every moment brings you new emotions, new dealings, new things. And there are a lot of newness happening in the world that none of us have been aware of. We don't really know if there's a solar flash or it's a pole flip. Who knows? Right? But I'm not going to sit in fear over it. But if it happens, there's going to be new emotions that arise. Holy shit, what the fuck? Right? So bringing my emotions into neutrality, like I don't fear this, but what is going on? And making sure that I'm upswinging. It's where you got to teach yourself how to do that. And we're going to get into rhythm now. Quote, rhythm may be neutralized by an application of the art of polarization, the Kybalion. This is a hard concept. But I have a good way of explaining it at the end. but I'm gonna read the quotes here from the book. Quote, the Hermeticists hold that the principle of rhythm manifests on the mental plane as well as the physical plane, and that the bewildering succession of moods, feelings, emotions, and other mental states are due to the backward and forward swing of the mental pendulum, which carries us from one extreme of feelings to the other. The law of neutralization aids one to help overcome the operation of rhythm and consciousness. By raising the consciousness higher through higher vibration, the mental pendulum manifests on the lower plane. But being in the higher plane, you can escape the backward swing to what we don't want. This is not easy to understand, but hang on. Invoking the I am presence, your God self, pole, and not denying the operation of rhythm. So you know that you're swinging continuously, but being vibratory at the I am pole raises you above. So when the pendulum swings back, it doesn't change you or your polarity. The goal is equilibrium and counterbalancing laws. So when you're in shit, you feel like shit, right? You're in a state where even with the backswing, nothing's going to affect you because you're already up here like, oh yeah, okay, piece of cake, all is good. All right, we'll figure out a modality to handle this. You're not allowing it to swing and affect you back here so things don't manifest. And the things that have manifested that are not in your best intentions, you just let it go. Frozen, let it go. So it's all about coming into the middle, the equilibrium part, and understanding and alchemizing your feelings. You know that there's an operation, it's rhythm, it goes between two poles. It depends where, it's up to you where you're swinging. You want to swing positive, positive, right? Because we're not all the way negative. And yes, there's a counter back, but how far back is up to you, right? Suicidal elation. Wanting to die, wanting to live. And there's the range of scales in the in between. So we always want to come here and we want to go up here. We don't want to swing so far back that it's going to put us in the state of, I don't want to be here anymore. We want to go, spilled milk. All right, that sucks. Moving back on. That's where you want to be. That's how you master this. Law of neutralization. You want to neutralize what's going on mentally, and you want to transmute that into something positive so that when the swing comes back, you're not jumping back and it's not affecting you if it does. So even if the swing comes back, like, out of my control, moving on. It's having that fuck you attitude, right? Fuck you, letting it go, moving on. Adios, bye-bye. Don't need you anymore. It's like that bad ex that you went back to a few times if you're in that situation. And each time you're like, why didn't I learn from the first example? Why didn't I learn? Oh, because your heartstrings are attached. Oh shit, right? And you keep going back until something wakes up in you and you're like, not today, Satan, not today. And anytime this person tries to call you, comes back into your life, stay over there. I don't care. Bye. Love you, but you got to go over there. Does that make sense? Because you took control. You're in your I am presence. You are actualizing the God self inside of you by mastering this. Quote, nothing escapes the principle of cause and effects, but there are many planes of causation, and one may use the laws of the higher to overcome the laws of the lower, the Kybalion. Quote, by raising above the plane of ordinary causes, they become themselves in a degree causes instead of being merely caused. When you can have gained mastery of your moods and feelings, neutralize the rhythm, one can escape the ordinary plane of cause and effect. It stands to reason to have a strong will, so you're not succumb to others raising above the influence of causes. You have to dominate mood, impulses, emotions, feelings in order to overcome ordinary environments. So what I was just talking about is really playing out in these quotes. Quote, such people help to play the game of life understandingly, instead of being moved about this way and that way by stronger influences and powers of wills. End quote. They apply the principle of cause and effect instead of being used by it. Quote, the wise ones serve on the higher, but rule on the lower. They obey the laws coming from above them, but on their own plane, and those below them, they rule and give orders. Sounds like our society right now. And yet, in doing so, they form a part of the principle instead of opposing it. The wise man falls in with the laws by understanding its movements. He operates it instead of being its blind slave. Just as does the skilled swimmer turn this way and that way, going and coming as he will, instead of being as the log, which is carried here and there. So is the wise man as compared to the ordinary man. And yet both swimmer and log, wise man and fool, are subject to law. He who understands this is well on the road to mastery, the Kybalion. So those of us who are on the higher planes of thinking and consciousness, but are here on the lower planes, we can outmaneuver this plane of existence. Though we have higher laws that affect us, we understand them and we're not slave to them because we can maneuver around them. And we can do so because we're not allowing us and our minds to be slaves no more. And this is the road to mastery. Quote, true hermetic transmutation is a mental art. End quote, the Kybalion. Mental power is all about being able to influence one's own environment. They state if the universe is mental, then the mind has to be one of the highest powers affecting phenomena. This is my favorite one. Quote, the all is mind. The universe is mental. End quote, the Kabbalion. Here's my own words. If God created the universe, then God created the very thoughts in my mind. Did you ever think about that? I always say that to people, because a lot of people test me. God created the universe and everything in it. He created me, and he created the thoughts that are within me, and he created the expression that I am, that I'm operating in a certain modality, in a certain expression that God wanted me to play out as role on his divine stage. And in its divine timing, I am that I am, a fractal of God, expressing myself as God wanted, with the thoughts that God puts in my mind and all of yours. We're a part of the all. Remember that. If anything, I hope this book taught you that we're human and we engender both poles, feminine and masculine. We have both poles of polarity, a feminine and a masculine, which vibrate at different levels. The principle of rhythm. And it's up to us to stop always swinging in one direction and swing in both directions. And then sometimes when we neutralize our senses, we can manipulate others and ourselves. We can swing up and come to neutrality and not go to both extremes. It's all within your mind. If you understand those things, you have the power with persistence and perseverance to change your mindset, to catch yourself in those moments, to bring yourself to a neutrality. Then start manifesting things that will bring positive causes and effects into your life, not allowing the negative to affect you. To be the master of your own universe, to actualize the I am presence that's within you. We're all remembering these things in our own ways, with our own stories and own emotions. It's up to us and us alone to become the master of our own universe that's playing out right now in the here and the now. It takes a lot of alone time to analyze and sit back how others are affecting you. I thought I heard a cat. I've been seeing things. Things have been visiting. I don't know what from what realm though. Anywho, we are the masters of our own universe and our own destiny. It's up to us. And it helps when other people can interject at times when you're not going to be so critical on them, but more of yourself. If somebody catches you in a cycle and you're like, hey, snap out of it, girl. Snap out of it, bro. Heed the advice. Sometimes we're not aware or not cognizant of things. It's not brought up to our attention. And when it does, understand where they're coming from. They're trying to help you. They've been put in your path for a reason. Everybody is. Analyze why. I'm really sad that this book is over. It's incredible. And one that I hope that more people read not for the occultiness that people think it is, but for the wisdom that's in here. This is brilliant work. Practical, logistical, logical. There's science in here. Physics, quantum entanglement, simplified. Alchemical transmutation is everything. It's how we change our mindsets. Because there's chemicals in us, and we affect what those chemicals do. Dopamine, serotonin, there's plenty more. How do we change the chemicals within us to work with us instead of against us? On a mental plane, this here is giving us examples and giving us the wisdom to help us through our own development. Buy it, read it, absorb it, learn from it. It's an amazing book. Sad, because it's that good. I enjoyed this book so much, and I really highly recommend this book, guys. Please drop in the comments if you've read this book before and how you've used the 7 principles in your everyday life to help you better yourself, better your mental state, overcome things. Again, we're not perfect, we're flawed human beings going through the human experience. And using a lot of these principles can help you change your mindset and your mind frame into something bigger and better. Tell me. I'd love to hear how it's changed you. And what processes and what principles you really stick by. For me, it's all about polarity and rhythm. What about you? Sending each and every one of you love and light. I really hope you enjoyed this episode of the Axioms and Aphorisms. I really, really wish that I didn't pack away. I have a whole book I wrote of other people's maxims and axioms and aphorisms that are more existential, but they're really good. And some of them talk about the will, which I might do once I move and get established, go back into finding those books that I wrote in about the will. And I have to see if I can read the will. Hang on. I always mess up this title. I don't know why. The World as Will and Representation, Volume 1. I read that. And it was very difficult to read, but it's really good. And Volume 2, I have yet to I tried tackling it, and I was just like, holy shit, this is a mind fuck. So I didn't read the whole thing. And then he references a whole bunch of books and stuff that I was like, I need to read because I don't understand the referencing. Yeah, but his first book is incredible. A lot on the will. I have a cat hair in my mouth. A lot on that, and it's one of his best works. So I want to go over that because it ties into a lot of these concepts. But that's a huge undertaking. And I don't mind doing it because I love him. Unconditionally, of course. So I hope you guys got something out of this episode. I hope that you enjoyed everything. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. A lot of people view my work, but have yet to subscribe. I don't know why. Don't hate me. I love you. Amish mindset. What are you abundant in today that you can help somebody out? I sure damn need help. Still. Right? Sending each and every one of you love and light, protection and healing in this time. Stick to the positive polarity. Swing up. And when you catch yourself in the low, because you're allowed to go there. Find neutrality. I went over a lot of that in the transmuting suicidal thoughts. When you're there, what's going to bring you out of it? What's going to distract you? Healthy ways. So I hope read this and that's going to help you. So if you're in that funk, read. It helps. And I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. Bye.